International, nigga. That's how I'm feeling. Yeah. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. Keys and trust me. That's my signature now, some shit. Yeah. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. He at the door when I send him up. I had to tell him, look what I did for us. I want the keys to a Bentley truck. I need it black and it tinted up. We finna smoke with the windows up. I hit the plug from a different number. I get the pack and then divvy up. I make the portions and I split it up. I know they mad, they ain't get enough. I got the backwood and I lit it up. Treat them like Pac when I hit them up. You should've known the highs and the lows. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of control. So I hit the dash, nigga, I'm going. So I got the gas, let's get in the zone. Nigga, your life is a lie. All of them bitches are scandalous. I get the pack from the Bay. I need a trip to Los Angeles. I'ma pull up on some Kannon shit. If you see the lights in the ambulance, chain on my neck like an amulet. I'm by my paper like pamphlets. You try to dance with the wolves and it's dangerous. I took a step in there, I got the hang of it. You saw the switch in it, I saw the change in it. I'ma be chillin' with niggas I came in with. Pour up the liquor, I probably was tasting it. I took a shot off the glass like I'm baking it. I put the food on the table like banquets. Niggas be hating, but you should be thanking them. Yeah. Came up, but I'm still climbing. Me and Shorty off a pill vibing. Niggas ass, they real diamonds. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. He at the door and I send him up. I had to tell him, look what I did for us. I want the keys to a Bentley truck. I need it black and it tinted up. We finna smoke with the windows up. I hit the plug from a different number. I get the pack and then divvy up. I make the portions and I split it up. I know they mad, they ain't get enough. I got the backwood and I lit it up. Treat them like Pac when I hit them up. You should've known the highs and the lows. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of control. I hit the dash and nigga, I'm gone. So I got the gas, let's get in the zone. Hit the road and do $150. Shit gets slower when the cup hit me. Only keeps a real company. What you need, I brought the plug with me. Lil Kim, I was on some drugs, but she's sober now, thank you God above. Brother taught me how to hold a gun. Click bang, that's a hole in one. On my own, I was all alone, nigga by myself, never folded once. You know what's up. I used to chain out when we rolling up. You gon' know it's us, gon' know it's us. Mine on the money, heart full of gold. He took an oath, it's part of the code. You should've known. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. He at the door when it send him up. I had to tell him, look what I did for us. I want the keys to a Bentley truck. I need it black and it tinted up. We finna smoke with the windows up. I hit the plug from a different.
Yo, my name is Drew, the owner of Upstate Aesthetic, a website dedicated to promoting local artists. We're back for another episode of The Cypher. Every week, Anthony Kannon, Sheridan, and myself sit down and discuss the latest happenings in hip-hop, both locally and the mainstream. You all just heard the intro music that's simple and plain by my co-host Anthony Kannon that just dropped today. How you doing, Ant?
Man, I'm doing well. I'm a little bit tired. I had a long day. Been working hard, promoting the new track, Simple and Plain. I appreciate everybody who's checked it out. If you haven't yet, it's on all platforms. Make sure to save it to your libraries and add it to your playlist. How you doing, Sheridan?
Doing pretty well. I've spent the last couple of days kind of driving around LA, checking out some places I haven't been. Today I went up to the Hollywood sign and checked that out. That was pretty cool. I've been just compiling music, man. I haven't really put anything into the system, but I have it's like I've got like 10 songs like about to be done. And once I do, everything's gonna be going in the system, and it's gonna be quite the push that I'm doing. But for now, it's kind of just it's gonna look quiet for me, but it won't be.
That's what's up, man. Looking forward to it. It hasn't really been quiet for music in general this week, though. Especially upstate, we had a bunch of new tracks drop. Obviously, the new Drake album dropped, so music's gonna be talking a whole lot then. But we got a new track from 𝐂𝐲𝐳. We're going to preview a new track from St. Kid, a new track from Carlito Black. We obviously just heard Ant's new track. We got some new Matthew Cornwell. MBK Richie's album is finally on streaming services. We had him on the Cypher last week. So there's just a lot of new music coming out. It's good. It's good for upstate. This was a good week.
1,000%, man. It's always good to see the local town, local area in general, coming together for one big push. Kind of like what Sheridan was saying, but almost as a unit. It's only the more content that gets put out, the more people that are involved, the more the word's gonna spread. So, and especially when everything's as fire as it has been. Go check out that MBK Richie album. Throwaway shit was really dope. I got a feature on it.
Yeah, that project was great. And like I said, we had him on the Cypher last week. If you missed that, you can check out our interview with him. We just have the interview part up on our YouTube, and we also have the whole episode up on YouTube if you want to check that out as well. Let's jump into some of the mainstream news that's going on. The one thing I definitely wanted to talk about and gauge your guys' interest on, we talked about Juice Wrld on one of our early episodes, the passing of him. We played a leaked track by him. This week, not Juice Wrld, Lil Pump previewed a track. I'm going to play like 15 seconds of it. I don't know if you guys heard it. A couple of distasteful things in here, though.
School on a Percocet, like Juice Wrld, 70 pounds on the private jet. I was in a purple Ray Friday with 2 bricks of meth. I shot him in the arm.
So if you heard it before, you obviously heard this. It makes no sense to me why Lil Pump would say something just so it's just ridiculous. We all know how Juice passed away, and what was weird to me is like related to this article that I saw this on. I saw another article talking about Pump paying homage to Juice Wrld at Rolling Loud or something like this. So how do you go from that to this? It's just crazy to me.
It's disappointing to hear it. It's really just all you can chalk it up to is shock value and the lack of awareness. He probably thought enough time has passed where you can make a remark like that, but you can't. And if your tribute was genuinely sincere, then you wouldn't make lines like this in general. So I don't expect moral or like political correctness from Lil Pump, but this was tone deaf even for him. On a lighter note, I do think that in terms of his music, that was like a new direction for him. So maybe it'll do something.
I agree. I agree. Like that didn't, like, other than that line, it didn't sound as awful as his music like recently has been. It was like, okay, like that's interesting. But that line, and I've been a Lil Pump supporter in the past. I liked him when he was like really underground, like before the Gucci Gang stuff. I liked that. I just thought it was funny. I thought he was funny. I think he's trying to continue to stay relevant by using lines like that. I think part of it is he's ignorant to the fact of how that was going to be received. I think he's a little... I mean, if you guys have seen him talk, he's not smart. Like, he's not a smart guy. So he probably thought, oh, like, I'm going to say this Juice Wrld line. People who, like, make memes and shit are going to think it's funny, but people really know I love Juice Wrld because that's how he's thinking. But I don't think that's not... I'm not trying to make an excuse. Like, it's no excuse. Like, I think he has enough people around him that he could be like, yo, like, is this okay? And there's probably was people who I would be really surprised unless, like, no one else besides he and his dumbass engineer heard that shit. Someone had to have told him, nah, bro, you can't do that. And he was like, nah, I'll do it anyway.
In Lil Pump's twisted mind, he probably thought that was paying homage to Juice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the difference is Juice Wrld is dead. Like, if he was alive and he just got popped with 70 pounds, the bar would be fine.
Yeah.
But you always draw the line at death. And when you talk about the dead, it seems like disrespect at its finest. I don't think it was the most malicious intentions, but like I said, I think it's just tone deaf from his side. Like, and this man is still younger than all of us, I think. Like, I don't think he's hit 20 yet. So, like I said, you can't expect anything less or anything more out of this guy. You might be able to expect some less out of him.
And so did anyone see like a response that he gave or like any type of explanation he gave? Because I tried to look for that today and I couldn't find him like saying anything about the backlash.
Like I said, bro, like I don't think he in his mind interprets that as anything wrong. I think that he was paying homage, even though it is wrong, and it was.
But you don't. So you think he's looking at all this backlash and being like, oh, like fuck those people, they don't know me, or do you think he's looking at it and being like, oh shit?
I think the backlash is kind of what he wanted.
He would have said something.
I think he wanted the backlash just to get attention on this track and his new sound, especially because it's not the first time he's done something like this where he said something edgy that you shouldn't say in a track. Well, and he's at one point he used
Well,
like
he
a
had
racial
people
slur
with
towards
him on
Asian
that.
people, or maybe not a racial slur. Let me not say that
He
too crazy,
said
but he said,
Ching Chong,
yeah,
and
yeah,
that was not cool. That
it
was
wasn't
fucked up.
cool. It was fucked up.
China Mac
But
drunk.
and that's kind of the same type of situation. Obviously, this is more serious than that. But still, I feel like he just says shit, crazy shit, to be picked up by the news sites, to have people like us talk about him, and then to promote his music in the same vein. And like you guys said, the track was kind of good outside of that line, which sucks.
That's
So,
a
like,
that's a good
see,
point. Hold up. Just let me say this real
go
quick.
ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
Like I think that Son, just like you said, he did it to get attention. And when he made that Chinese remark a while ago, what happened? Like he took the line out of the song, and or the ad lib, I think it was actually, and it just wasn't there anymore. It dropped, but the song performed crazy well because of all the tension behind it before. So if Lil Pump were to drop this song and just change this line, the song is going to blow up because we're already familiar with it. All the tabloids have been talking about it. So that's what I think it is. I think he has no problem recanting, like, oh shit, I'm actually not gonna go through with this. But even if he doesn't, job completed. Like this, I wouldn't be surprised if this song never comes out.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm with you there, especially if there are people. At the very least, I wouldn't be surprised if he changed the line, because there have to be people around him who are like, this isn't a good look. It's not going to be a good look if you officially release it. It's one thing to get attention by it, but to actually release the track is a whole nother thing. It's in poor taste, and I don't think it would happen. It would make no sense. Outside of like a leak situation down the line where just some producer or something leaks it online, I don't see it getting any type of official release with that line in it.
Yeah, because if he drops it with that line in it, that'll be like it will be the #1 trending thing that day, but it'll be in a negative way. Like, I haven't seen one person be like, oh, like, it's not a big deal. Like, oh, he was just trying to pay homage, like he may think. Like, I've not seen anyone say that. And that's the difference with, like, as much as, like, I think the racial slur was wrong, there are people who are like, oh, people, like, that's just being sensitive. That's not as a big deal as, like, people are making out to be. This is like
still made his ass apologize though.
But this is like, I feel like this is indefensible. I feel like he didn't apologize. He didn't really apologize about that, did he? He just took it out of the song. Like, he didn't say nothing.
It was a weak ass apology, but he did issue some form.
Oh, he did. So that's why I haven't seen that about this, and this is even worse. So.
And I think if he were to keep it in the song, it might gain traction. But people have already heard the line, so people would just know, oh, that's that shitty song by Lil Pump. If people are talking about, oh, he took the line out, I think a lot more people will rush to it to then listen and say, okay, what did he put in place of it, or did he actually pull it out? If you know it's in there, I mean, I might still check it out, but I also, knowing that the line's in there, it's like I don't really want to support that song either. So
yeah,
1000%, you can't support shit like that.
Yeah.
Agreed.
You can't. They'll just keep doing it.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of things that people aren't supposed to support, but they're probably going to support, on May 8th, Tekashi 6ix9ine is officially dropping a new track. He put this information on Instagram. If you've been following the Cypher, you know we talk about Tekashi quite a bit. But it's still interesting. He's ready to release music quite a bit sooner, I think, than you thought, Sheridan.
Yeah, I think that is. I still am skeptical that it's actually going to be releasing on May 8th. But I think I mean, and if I was in his shoes, this was not the decision that I would have made. If I was going to drop it this soon, I would have not announced it. It would have been a surprise. Like, it would have just come out. But I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I think it'll do well regardless, but that's just not how I would have done it.
It will do well regardless. I'm interested to see what direction he takes, as always. It's dope that he thinks that the world is. Well, I think it's funny, not dope. That he thinks he's so confident that he could just drop something right now, because he knows everybody is going to check it out, whether they hate him or love him. There's going to be a small percentage of people that hate him enough not to listen, and even if they try not to listen, they're going to hear it in memes and TikToks and everything scrolling down their timeline. So good luck avoiding that. I hope it's good music. I'm not going to cop a Tekashi album if he drops it, but I will be listening to the whatever he drops first.
Yeah, and that kind of sets the tone for people with Tekashi. I think that first track on May 8th, if he doesn't come with something to the same tone or the same level as before, people will the discussion about Tekashi will slowly fade. We won't be talking about him as much here. People won't be talking about him as much in general because the music's not good. No matter how much you control, people won't care. Like, you already have enough checks against you that if the music sucks too, it's going to be very easy to write him off and just forget about him at this point.
I agree.
I think he's got 2 shots though. I think even if his first album's trash and it like flops big time, which I would be really surprised even if it is trash if it flops big time. But I think even if that does happen, he has a second shot at it.
He is
just because of how much hype is around him.
His shit's gonna perform well regardless. It's just a matter of how well.
Yeah.
Like if you determine him for 10 for 10 platinum hits, #1 hits, I forget what they were. But if you hold him to that success, then he probably will fail.
I'm curious. I guess I'm just curious to his second and third week numbers more than I am to his first week numbers.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and I think that, like, with Tekashi right now, he's kind of in an unfortunate situation because if he comes out of being locked up in prison when there's no coronavirus, then everyone's music isn't on hold. But right now, so many people's music are on hold the same way his has been because he's in jail, that there are going to be a lot of people dropping over the next few months, that he's going to be competing with a lot of top-name artists. And it wouldn't even surprise me to see 1 or 2 artists, like, dislike him enough, like, because fans can dislike him and can't really do anything, but other artists, if they dislike what he's done enough and decide to drop at the same date he's dropping, they could really fuck up everything he has going. And there are a lot of artists that he could be competing with over the next couple months that would screw up what he's got coming. So I'm interested to see if that happens.
So I guess as an artist, you'd have to be at least somewhat like able to like self-destruct yourself in a way to do that, because that's kind of like it's like, oh, I'm gonna like, I don't know. I've seen artists do that before, and that really looks like you're so pressed or you're so worried about this artist that you're literally gonna drop a whole album of your music and potentially like fuck up your own bag just to like fuck up another artist's bag. And that's not even about like, oh, like I don't want 6ix9ine's bag fucked up. Like, I just think it's like I would never, no matter how much I hated another artist, I would never like change my drop or like make sure my drop is on the same date as their drop just to like fuck them up. I guess that's just like, it's like worrying about someone else's money. It's like, why don't you just get your own money?
Unless you're fucking Drake or somebody of that magnitude, you're not gonna fuck up his drop.
The only person that I'm thinking of is like YG that would do that.
It wouldn't fuck up his drop. It wouldn't. If anything, YG would be stupid because if he does that, it's gonna be the talk of every news source, and it would only give 6ix9ine's album exposure. So I think
I'm just saying that's the only person I think would. Like,
I got a question for both of y'all. Would you lose? Well, if you have respect for an artist and they collab with Tekashi in the future, do you lose it? Do you feel differently about them?
If the track sucks, yes.
Okay.
If the music's good, I really don't have much to say. But if the track is bad and you're willing to put out a bad track with an artist just to get clout because they have it right now, knowing that it's not a very good single or not a very good track, then yeah, you would have to lose some. I would have to lose some respect for them to be willing to do that just to get some notoriety. But if the track's good, you're just like, whatever. It's business, man.
I feel like I lose some ounce of respect anytime an artist drops a bad track, but personally, I wouldn't lose respect for an artist that drops a track with Tekashi either way, just because tracks are hit or miss. Like, something you think is fire in the studio isn't necessarily something that everyone else is gonna think is fire. So.
But that's why most people have teams and it goes through.
No, I know. Yeah, I agree. But like, still, even with people's teams, like, there's been the biggest pop stars ever that have had 100 people on their team look through an album and they put it out, and that's just dog shit. awful.
What if it was
It happens all the time.
Someone who has more of a reputation for being involved in like the gang life, or someone like Kendrick even collaborating with Tekashi? Would you then have to look at it in a different perspective? Like someone like Post Malone, I wouldn't care, but
you have to have respect for an artist to lose it. That's what I'm saying. So I'm talking about if one of the biggest names in the game who's been consistent, or somebody that you even just like if they go with Tekashi, are you gonna feel any type of way about it? What if Tyler the Creator and Tekashi did a track?
Nah, I would not feel any.
I would fucking love to hear that.
I would. So would I. Honestly, that would be like. I feel like that song would be very good. I feel like Tyler would put him in a like use him in a way and like produce him in a way that like made his shit super interesting.
But what if like 𝐂𝐲 dropped with him?
Well, he already don't like 𝐂𝐲 anyway, so.
For me, bro. I mean, if 𝐂𝐲 dropped with him, I would honestly gain some respect for Fabio. I feel like that won't happen, but if it did, I would possibly actually lose some respect for Fabio, just because he's the type of dude that like wouldn't. I mean, I don't think Fabio's not like. I don't think he's anything crazy anyway. You know what I mean? Like in terms of a rapper, I just think his music's lit. But like, I feel like the way he talks, he wouldn't associate with someone like Tekashi, but maybe.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what it comes down to, is like what that artist is about, or what kind of message they try to present or whatever. But like if it's someone like Tory Lanez, I'm really just gonna be. It wouldn't even be that surprising. Tory would be someone I would almost expect to be one of the first few. The way he leans into some of the crazy shit with quarantine radio and stuff like that, it would not shock me.
Well, he's already done songs with him, so
that too. They already have the relationship. The relationship's established. When Tekashi popped in on quarantine radio, it's not like Tory ignored it. He addressed it and like just joked around about it. Essentially, there was no like issue there for him.
Music, though.
But he was saying that there was no way. He was like, Tekashi's fucking around. He's like, he's not serious. So there's no point in acknowledging this. He probably would have played it, I think, if Tekashi would have sent a track or something like that. But I think he knew what Tekashi was doing, so he wasn't about to feed into it and seem like a sucker being like, "Oh, send that track," and then all of a sudden, Tory looks like a joke. He don't get no Tekashi track and is begging for it on his show. So
he's begging for a Tekashi track. Yeah.
So both of them handled it pretty well, I think. But I wouldn't be too surprised to see them work together in the future, and I wouldn't be too surprised to see a lot of artists work with Tekashi after he gets past this first run of like whatever people throw at him.
Would you work with Tekashi, Ant?
No, I want to work with Tekashi. Beforehand, before all this happened, I would have. And I even tried to get in contact with Tekashi before polls came out, but I was unsuccessful. And also before I was aware of like the sexual assault allegations. So there's way too much behind him for me to even contemplate doing a song with him. It's like a straight up no. So I would love to, but like I just wouldn't. I would never.
I think it would be a bad look for like a rising artist, because you're attaching yourself to someone who already has such a bad reputation.
You're gonna get the skinny from the 9 stamp. You're gonna get the skinny from the 9 stamp. If anybody knows who that is.
I do.
But I also like, besides for like morals and all that, like what I grew up on, what I respect about hip hop and what it stands for, it's just like you benefit so much from a Tekashi feature. So much hate comes with it, but in the end of the day, whoever gets it is going to be a star for a temporary amount of time. That type of tag is not something that I'm interested in. I think that you can overcome the shadow of Tekashi, but I just don't want to be. I would never be that guy to associate myself with him, especially for just 15 minutes of fame.
And there have been a lot of people who have done that, like Skinny from the 9 and other artists who have Tekashi as features or stuff that you really probably haven't heard of them or the track itself, because Tekashi songs hit and so do his features on like popular artists, but he doesn't pull you to look at a smaller artist the same way a Drake does or other artists do, where when they collaborate with them, you're like, oh, I got to check him out now. With Tekashi, if I hear him collaborate with someone, if it's not someone famous, I don't really give him too much credit from the rip. Like, I'm like, okay.
There was a song on the last album he put out with this artist called 𝐻𝐸, which honestly I haven't checked him. I will be honest, I haven't checked him out in the last couple of months, but for the first couple of months after that song came out, that was my favorite song on the album. And I listened to it all the time, and I would look him up and see if he had any other music. He had no other music. And he was getting I want to say it was either Don Kannon or DJ Drama were trying to get him like producers basically, and like the best producers to send him tracks and shit. But since then I feel like with all the Tekashi like hate, that shit hasn't really happened. But I know a lot of other people that listened to that 𝐻𝐸 track and were like, yo, this dude's about to pop. I think it just depends on the artist. I think Skinny from the 9 is kind of bad. Like a lot of people were talking about him as like an artist that was gonna like pop, like he was gonna be big, and I always was like, what? Like I don't really think he's as good as his counterparts. But I think it just depends. Like I think if you're an artist that is already established 5 years from now, I think you do a track with Tekashi and he's still relevant, that could work. But I think if you're a new artist and if you have less than 3 like Billboard hits, you should not do a track with Tekashi. Period.
You don't want your claim to you don't want your rise to be attributed to Tekashi. That'd be the wackest.
Exactly. It's like
that really just helps him in the long run.
That's even worse than selling out. That's worse than selling out to like a label or something. That like doing a track with Tekashi to blow up, I think is like
fucking shout out my man's 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞 in Florida. I've talked about him on this show once before, but we recorded in Quad in New York City, and Skinny from the 9 was there. He wasn't in our studio or nothing, but he was recording in the studio next to us, or he was in the next studio. I wanted to put the camera in his face and clown the nigga because he's just so funny, but that's not me. This shit was hilarious. Like looking at Skinny from the 9, it's a sight, bro.
That's funny. We'll go ahead and wrap up the Tekashi talk and jump to a topic that I'm very interested in hearing your guys' opinion about. We're going to talk about Machine Gun Kelly and his covers he's been doing. I'll go ahead and play a quick snippet of one of them. I've enjoyed this just because of Machine Gun Kelly doing something very different as a mainstream artist to help give his fans something to listen to. So let's check about 30 seconds of this out.
Danger. One of us just lost our savior. Gotta maintain when you're going insane, so I say this prayer. Dear God, why do I need this medicine to control my anger? And do you even exist? They're trying to say it's a myth. A lot of things left unsaid, a lot of things left unanswered. My aunt just passed from cancer. Dad just got out of rehab, and mom's never gonna show up.
So he's been doing these covers for a while now, probably the last month and a half or so since quarantine really started kicking off. He's done a Rihanna cover. He's done a couple different covers. Have you guys gotten a chance to check any of them out?
Yeah, bro.
Absolutely.
It's just
what do you
different.
Think of him, Sheridan?
I honestly, like, I've never been an MGK fan, and what he's been doing during this quarantine has been, like, by far leaps and bounds above what I consider his other music to be. I've heard, I guess I've heard songs here and there sprinkled apart that are decent MGK songs, but these songs, I feel like he's really getting into, like, his personal life and his feelings and just what his views are, and that's my favorite type of thing, especially when it's done well. And I've always thought that MGK was an intelligent guy, but I didn't really know to what extent. And I think these tracks have really shown that he has a valuable view on life and just humans in general.
I mean, I agree with a lot of what you said. I'm not as impressed as you are. I'm not a big MGK fan at all, but I've known he could rap since 2012. since homie hit the XXL freshman cover. Anytime that man hits a freestyle, anytime he remixes somebody else's beats or just raps with no chorus or has to make a whole song, it's great. And I've even heard bangers from him. These freestyles and these videos have been a little bit inspiring. I'm not like impressed, like I said, because this is what I expect out of him. Whenever he drops some mediocre shit, I'm disappointed. But this is his level. This isn't his ceiling. He could be a lot better than even what he's done. But I think a lot of rappers could take advantage of this, just like how he's doing. I've been waiting for MGK to do something to get the stain off his name from the Eminem beef. And this was the perfect thing in the perfect time. Like, besides for the movies, and he's obviously being successful, but in the hip hop game, he's really just not respected at all. He has such a large core fan base that it'll never really matter. But I think to him, respect is a lot more important than success, especially at this point. So I think he'll really do anything to get it. I hope that he keeps going in, and I hope it even gets better. Because I know it can be.
And I think this has been one of the smartest moves by an artist during this time frame of consistently dropping these covers of music that people are pretty familiar with, but putting your own spin on it, your own take on sounds that people have already heard, and not straight up copying it, but making it your own in a way, and getting that stain off of your back. This is the way you said. And I've been becoming more of an MGK fan probably over the last year or so because he started to lean into this like punk rap genre bending type situation, which is I like that kind of music a lot, and I like the way he does it at points. But this is really cool, and I really enjoyed it, and I think it's a smart way to, like you said, get that stain off his back and just show people what he's capable of without having to drop an album, without having to drop singles. This might make people check it out even more because it's not just an MGK single, it's an MGK cover of a Rihanna song. You're like, what the hell? How could he? What is this? What is it going to be like? An MGK cover of a Paramore song that you're used to. Like, it's very cool and interesting, and a smart way for him to just get that stain off his back, become more of I think he wants to just be respected, like you said, and I think he's kind of run his length in terms of getting that respect in the rap game, but as a musician in general, I think there's still an opportunity for him to grow and gain respect just as an artist and start getting out of the rap genre in general and start moving towards a more pop punk area. And this is a good way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I think that he will stay in the pop lane a little bit, but only sometimes. I think he branched out a little bit ago when he was in Bird Box and a couple other films. So I think this has been a long time coming. I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him in more films and less music. But I do think respect is a lot more important to him than any type of dollar amount. So he will continue to display shit like this.
Yeah, and he's mentioned like he's gonna drop a new album that's gonna be more of like a punk type album, and dropped a single today for it, which is smart because like this introduced his fans to that, or continued to introduce them to that, give them a taste of it, and now he's able to drop his own unique music to the same type of sound that people will now be familiar with and probably check out.
So I'm not like I said, I'm not a big MGK fan, but I do like when he raps. If I'm not mistaken, he dropped the EP shortly after the Eminem beef, and it was called like Hotel or some shit, right? Wasn't that up the alley of the punk rap that you're talking about?
Yeah, a little bit, for sure.
Wasn't that like widely hated?
I'm not sure. I know he with him dropping it literally on the end of that Eminem beef, I don't think that he was really in a position to get a lot of love for it, especially with him changing his sound.
Thought he won. A lot of people thought
Nah. He dropped Binge. He dropped the EP Binge right after that. What it was. And that wasn't punk, bro. That was garbage. That was
I thought it was more like punk rap though. I know
he dropped Hotel Diablo, I think, within the last year and a half or two, and that one was the follow up to that.
That was
okay.
Yeah, for sure. Lean more into the
that
punk
was
vibe, for sure. And
my shit was mistaken.
It's just like
what he dropped right after Rap Devil was so bad, bro. It was like I can't remember which song it was, but there was a video to it, and it was just so corny, and the song was so bad, and it just sounded like he was trying so hard.
He was trying so hard, man. At that
Yeah,
time, he was up
yeah,
against the ropes. So, but
yeah.
he's made a
But
big
I
comeback.
mean,
I think it's interesting.
I think you go against Eminem. I think even if he destroyed Eminem, people would have still said that Eminem won.
Well,
I think
Nah,
sidebar.
like
uh,
Do you think?
because I think people still think MGK would. Like I think Eminem destroyed
I
him. But I know most.
MGK did win.
Do you think that MGK handled the situation with Eminem better than any other rapper has? I've seen that go around on social media a lot.
Yeah.
I think a lot of rappers fell into a trap with Aftermath and Shady Records when they were the most powerful thing in fucking hip hop. Um, Eminem had the ability to destroy careers if you weren't on his level as a rapper. He didn't single handedly, but he took out a lot of people and made their respect level drop significantly. I thought that's what was gonna happen with MGK, but the opposite happened. I would say that MGK had the best diss track to Eminem out of anybody. It was the best attempt. I'm not sure if he handled it perfectly. I would have said if he dropped a better project right after, if he used it to really,
Yeah.
really benefit his music as opposed to just his brand, then it would have been something we've never seen before. But instead, like all I can give him, and it was one hell of a try, but nigga got stomped, nigga got beat to death, bro. Like I'm just like I'm not even gonna discuss this because I just want to send you lyrics. Like I just want you to read them. Like
Bro,
I'm not even having this discussion, bro. Like we're going to the next topic or whatever. Whatever. But like I'm not doing this. MGK,
I'm not.
I'm not doing it,
I'll
bro.
let.
I'm not
I,
doing it.
With that, we're moving on. We'll go on to that's the last mainstream topic we got. Let's go ahead and listen to some new music out of Upstate. We got a new track from Matthew Cornwell just dropped onto all streaming services earlier today. In the past, we've only played about 30 seconds. I've decided I'm going to play a lot longer of the track, closer to a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Not the full track, but so that way we can get more of what's going on. If there's features, we can hear both verses and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and listen to a little bit of this Matthew Cornwell track.
Well, I called again, I called to let you know that I'm back this time and better than before. Yeah. And the feelings that you felt, well, you can leave them, you don't need them anymore. And keeping it honest, yeah, yeah. Well, I don't like your friends unless I comments. 'Cause you're the only one who knows you want it. And they say every lawn is green until you're on it. But I promise, yeah, I'll be the one that you want. I'll be the one that you want. I'll be the one that you want. Oh, I'll be the one that you want. Keeping it honest, tell me you want me, tell me it's real. Yeah. Save all the drama, tell all your friends you don't care how they feel. And I won't give up neither, you know that there's anything to keep you by my side. Yeah, giving it true to everything I do, I only wanna do for you. 'Cause I've been there and I can't stand the thought of losing you. So if you can feel it.
That's a preview of One You Want by Matthew Cornwell. He is just on a roll during this quarantine period, finally dropping some new music for everyone to listen to, not just the people tuning into his live. This is some good stuff.
Man, I mean, like he set the bar so high for himself. It's crazy that he keeps topping it. Like every time I listen to his music, bro, you just forget that he's somebody local. you just forget that he's not somebody you hear on the radio. He's not somebody that you could just look up and see in Hollywood. Like, bro, we got to give him his roses while we can, because soon enough, man's going to be out of here. It's another beautiful track.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to a lot of places, and heard a lot of different artists from a lot of different places, and I gotta say, like, in terms of his raw voice, his songwriting ability, and his star power in general, with his lack of even promoting his own music, it's tremendous. I've not seen many artists on his level that aren't already famous. So I feel like that's kind of inevitable for him if he continues on the track that he is, because that song was great. Sounded like something, like Anthony said, I could hear on the radio, and every time I'm like, why isn't it? He's really a tremendous artist, and I'm excited to hear more.
Yeah, and the crazy
Go
thing,
ahead.
the crazy thing about him is that I'm not sure if this is one of the ones previewed on one of his live streams that he did, but he previewed like 10 tracks of this quality or better on those live streams. Like, he's got a lot of stuff in the tuck that is great stuff that you could imagine hearing on the radio. So, like you guys say, it's just a matter of time.
No doubt. I mean, just look at his catalog online. It's not indicative of his how much he works. You can go and find a bunch of tracks from him, but if you don't think he has 10 times that in the vault somewhere, you'd be mistaken. I know for a fact whenever he decides to consistently release songs, drop project, he's just he's somebody that I'm happy that I know and happy that I've worked with before. And I hope
I mean,
songs will again.
He's definitely up there with, if he's not the most talented artist in Upstate, he's within the most talented artists.
Yeah, I mean, when you get to there's an upper echelon. He's part of that upper echelon.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's a fact.
Absolutely, and he's so humble too. That's the crazy part, is he's within that upper echelon, but you wouldn't know it by talking to him or by tuning into his live feeds or anything like that, because he's still very humble and very gracious and works with a lot of people too, as much as he can, despite the fact that he's really busy with making music and other things that he does as well. So it's just very cool, and it's cool too because he's one of the artists that you have an opportunity to see live all the time in Upstate when there's not this whole coronavirus pandemic going on, because he's always doing live shows, which just helps him. Like, that's something that, it's like going to the gym and working out if you're a weightlifter. Like, being able to do those shows every weekend like he does is just, it just helps make him so much better.
And a lot of artists that are in a position like him, they can either perform solo or they can perform with a band. I've seen him crush both time and time again. He brings a band sometimes and they body shit. And I've also seen him just grab the mic and rock out to some songs by himself. So his stage presence is just as good as his studio etiquette. He's one of the artists out here that we really just got champion.
Yeah, he's a pro.
Yes, sir. And he's someone that we will be having on tomorrow's live virtual concert, live from your timeline. He sent a couple of videos, and he's doing a cover as well. So I'm excited to see this. I'm excited to see what he does tomorrow, and just have him involved with something like this. Like you guys said, he's within the upper echelon of artists. So to have him involved with something like this helped out, I think, tremendously. Like, all of the artists have their own fan base that they can bring to the table, but someone like him, I feel like, continues to add credibility. Someone like Ant as well adds credibility. All these artists that I asked to do this were to add credibility to what we were doing, and get people to tune in. So it's dope. And as I mentioned, we're doing live from your timeline. We got JJ Wolf will be performing with Dim 136. He just put out a new track with Saint Kid, so we're gonna go ahead and preview that.
One of us just lost their.
What's the goal? What's the goal? What's the goal? What's the goal? So I'm sorry if I feel a little distant. It's a little hard to trust you when you never try and listen. Way it is, and this is the way you are. Baby, don't go, yeah. We just got some problems to solve, and you know. If you want a problem, we can come and get you. You fuck with the team, you end up on a stretch. We ride around the city with no plans now. We might show up at your door now. Diamonds blue, rose red, can't remember what you said, I don't remember. I forget, yeah, I forget, don't remember, I forget. Hop up in that rocket and I blast off, yeah. I ain't with that talking, he just back off, back off. Told him if he wanna take his bag off. There's a lot of people with me who gon' run on. Yeah, I gotta get my money, that's my payoff, yeah. I made a couple K and then we break off. She crazy and she know that's why she cut off. Yeah, he wearing Gucci, it's a knock.
I get the bag, ooh bad baby. I get the cash, ooh bad baby. I do the dash, swerving the right real crazy. Run of the racks, nigga fuck you, baby. I'm getting sick of these bitches. The lies and the games are so twisted. I would say I love you, ooh, but baby girl, I'm just not in it. I'm just playing my role. You know I gotta play my position. I don't understand your love, I'm not in it. Right hand on the Bible, and my head to the sky. I'm ready for my demise. I'm ready for my demise. Funny gon' run and get done. Niggas know I'm a con. We bad back, dropping the rubber real crazy. That bitch gon' test me. I've been knowing her lately.
I'm sorry if I feel a little distant. It's a little hard to trust you when you never try and listen. Way it is, and this is the way.
That's Problems by 𝐂𝐲𝐶 featuring JJ Wolf. We've talked about 𝐂𝐲𝐶 quite a few times. We've had him on the Cypher before. JJ Wolf, I'm surprised we haven't had a chance to talk about him yet as much as he works, but has been a little quiet throughout the start of 2020. What do you guys think of that?
Man, I mean, 𝐂𝐲 is one of the most talented 16-year-olds in the area. He comes consistently. He treats himself like a professional, and he got prime JJ Wolf right there. JJ is a very versatile artist. He's one of the people that I think his ceiling is unbelievable. It's really, the more he grows, the more bags he allows himself to step in, the more dangerous he'll be. That's one of his best performances of his career, in my opinion. Out of all the JJ Wolf I've listened to albums and singles and albums. That's one of my favorite things he's ever done personally. So 𝐂𝐲 did a great job at picking somebody for that beat. And 𝐂𝐲 always does his job on a track. I think if I had to give him any criticism, because I love that guy, and I would tell this to anybody, is that you just got to work on your wordplay and making sure what you're saying is a little bit more, it has a little bit more substance. Even if it's a club banger, like you that shit was fire. The more you write, the stronger your pen will get, and the more bangers you'll be able to produce. So I think that that's a very successful track. I really like the way that they went about releasing it. They dropped it early on YouTube, build up some hype around it for the fans. So good shit to them. I really fucked with the track.
Facts. I mean, I kind of agree with everything you just said. I mean, I guess I would just add, as much as I liked JJ's verse, especially at the beginning, the criticism I'll give him is I would have liked to hear him, and I mean, this isn't even a criticism, it's just what I would have liked to hear, is hear him speed up at the end a little bit, just because he started out a little slow, and then I know how he can really like start fucking spitting. Yeah, and I would have been, I mean, I just would have been interested to hear that. But either way, he still killed that verse. I think 𝐂𝐲𝐶, I really liked what he did. More than anything, I thought that song for him, it showed a lot. I mean, more potential for him. It showed another possible, and another layer for him. It wasn't like crazy different from what he'd done, but it was a little different from what he's done before. And I think when he polishes that sound a little bit more, and like you said, polishes that wordplay a little bit more, that shit'll be a hit.
I mean, he doesn't have to impress you lyrically. Like, he doesn't have to have some crazy bars. But once and that'll come with just not being 16. Like
Yeah.
once he lives more, gets through some more experiences, gets truly heartbroken, like does some adult stuff, it'll come. It'll
Yeah.
naturally come because he
That's a
has that type
fact.
of talent. You feel me? It's just he has a lot of growth to do because his ceiling is another artist that it's just wild.
Yeah, I think both Saint Kid and JJ have two of the highest ceilings in upstate as well. Like
They're
they're
two of
both
the
some young.
youngest.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
two of the youngest and they're two of the most versatile, I think.
and
Yeah,
JJ's
well, the same kid is versatile in the aspect that he can make music and produce, but his
Yeah.
music, I would like to see more versatility in his actual music. If
Yeah.
I was being a critic,
He
but he
just
just
I agree
have
with
what
you.
he
I
does.
just mean as an artist, he's versatile. Yeah, he can do a lot of different things. His music itself could be more versatile though. I totally agree with that.
JJ, on the other hand, is super versatile. He's someone like
Oh my God.
the stuff we've seen him try, and it's dope because he's been able to try it at a time where you could see the growth now. Like I'm really excited to see where he goes the rest of this year. If this is how he's starting off, the way he tries different things and is versatile as an artist. If the growth continues, this is going to be very interesting. And we've talked about growth a lot, but with those guys, especially within that area and the Dim 136 group, and Saint Kid works with them a lot too, so they all push each other, I feel like, to become better because
Yeah.
you've seen the growth within the whole group of them. That whole conglomerate has gotten better, and that was a big reason why I reached out to them to be a part of the live virtual concert too. JJ especially, I've seen him. I haven't seen him in concert, but I've seen clips of him in concert, and I know he's got some energy. So
Yeah.
He's one of the best performers out here. If I'm in charge of the show, booking it in upstate New York, then the chances are I'm bringing JJ Wolf with me.
Yeah.
Because I
That's a
know I can
fact.
rely on him to give some energy as the opener.
Yeah, and
yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I do have an open from JJ, and it is really fire, bro. And I haven't written my
That's good
verse
for
yet.
you.
He's been waiting on me for a while, but I'm gonna get that shit done, and we're gonna get it done soon. But what he did was really dope.
yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. I'm excited to see the growth for him. This next track we've got up is by Mrs. Sicko 7. It's 𝐵. She is not someone we've actually talked about on here very much, maybe a little bit during our talk about the 607 Cypher last week, but we definitely got to start showing more love to the women in upstate who are doing their thing. So let's go ahead and preview her new track, 𝐵.
What's the goal? Young Bay, 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 hit 'em with the rucker, they buckle. I ain't Sonic, yeah, I'm Knuckles, I ain't taking a fumble. You a snake, sorry, bitch, yeah, I'm humble, I ain't looking like Dumble. I be running on the track, and I'm looking to pummel. Fucking I lean right, I mean they fuck what it seem right. I mean I fuck what I deem right. I mean I see what I can't sight. This is getting ridiculous. Say you bit with the bitterness, bubble black. I like licorice. I get with the giddiness. Young Bay, 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 young Bay. That's the spot, blowing it up. All you asses throwing it up. Yeah, I'm fashion, not lasting. I be hitting like I'm blasting. I be tackling like it's matting. I be doing, I be dashing. I'm into it. You influence, yeah, you blew it. I renew it. Fucking beanhead, I'm beaming. Yeah, these buses, they demons, and they from bad receding. I'm a bust back the meaning. That hammer tag. I mean that guillotine. I mean that fucking lean. You want that little league, that little league. Young Bay, young Bay.
And that's 𝐵 from Mrs. Sicko 7. She's someone who's definitely reached out to me leading up to the release of this track, so it was one I was looking forward to, and she did her thing on it for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. She did her thing on that. What do you think, Sheridan?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've heard like track by her. I heard her on the Cypher, and I've just heard like maybe I know I've heard her before. I just don't know what from what.
Dustin's track.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. I heard her from Dustin's track. And I thought that was dope. But like this song, I was definitely impressed by. And I told her that too. As a melody guy, I'm obviously not like totally blown away by the hook. I thought the hook could be more like a little more creative. But that's just like I feel like that's just a preference thing again. But in terms of the verses, I thought the verses were really good. I thought she threw in a lot of nice bars there, and I could tell that this is a type of track that like she's not even really like spin on. Like this isn't like her best bars. Like she's trying to like come with like kind of a banger type of song. But I can tell that she, with the bars that she did bring, that she has more in store for us. So I'm excited to hear when she really does get into her bag what she does. Because I thought this was a really dope song. I thought the beat went hard. I thought she killed it. Her flow was good. And I thought even though her bars weren't as crazy as I think that she can do, they still were pretty solid and a lot better than what the large majority of rappers, male or female, could do.
I hear that. I mean, she's always been very lyrically talented. Anna, Miss 607 is an artist that I've known for a long time. She's always been able to spit a fire 16. So to see her branch off and try to make a banger was really dope. This is going to step her into a new lane artistically. I do think she was experimenting, but I do know, just like you said, she can go a lot harder than this bar for bar, and she still killed it. The chorus wasn't anything spectacular. It was dope. It did well with the song, but I would like to see something more adventurous in the future. But like you said, line for line, every bar in the song was crisp. Her flow was crisp. The sonic quality was a step up from what I've heard in the past. So whatever she's doing is working for her, and keep doing it. Shout out Miss 607.
I thought the mix was really good. Whoever mixed that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, it was a really good mix, and the track itself was really good. I had heard the snippet previews of a majority of it was the hook, and I was kind of in the same thought process as Sheridan, that it wasn't necessarily my type of thing. But when I heard the full track, I was really impressed with what she brought to the table as an artist, and I that's kind of how it's been for me in general.
Yeah,
is the fact that
I think the verses really ride.
Yeah, exactly. And shout out to D Blaze. She said D Blaze mixed it, so we got to send out that shout out for sure. Solid mix, solid track all around though. Definitely something I could listen to. And I'm excited to see where she goes from here. Like Sheridan, I haven't heard a whole lot from her, but this is a very good introduction. This isn't something where I'm like I'm not gonna check that out. I think she dropped a new track today that we'll probably check out soon. So.
Oh really? I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm excited to hear that.
D Blaze is a name that's getting bigger and bigger in the 607. He's an OG, but he's also somebody that he has his hands on almost everything right now. Just like Chais and Nico and Zakai, like there's a couple people that people just go to get their shit correct, and he's definitely one of them. He also is a part of a podcast, so if we ever get the chance, we should bring him up here. I know he's got a lot of good stuff to say. He's an opinionated dude, but he's also funny as hell and chill. So I'd love to bring him up one time. Shout out D Blaze.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The next track we've got is from another artist that I'm not super familiar with, 𝐿J Get Money. He actually sent this track in that Instagram group that we're all in, the messaging group, and it was a pretty dope track, so I figured we'd preview it on the show. So here's Fuck by 𝐿J Get Money.
This the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, this the type of shit I'm talking about. This the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, hold up, wait. Yeah, this the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, this the type of shit I'm talking about. This the type of shit I'm talking about. This the type of shit I'm talking about. Sick of people always want a handout. Shoot a look around, damn, now it's man down. Eat shit just to make them understand now. Lose shit, make you really wanna break down. Yo, no, till you lying in the hearse. If you knew what I did, then they probably get you first. Am I looking for a way out? Ignorance on my face is a spell. You can catch me at the roundabout, a tendency to run your mouth, the type to say they snitching, cause they proud to bring a gun around a fake bird. Starting out to question what I'm talking about. I hear a single word, then they proud bring the coffin out. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Cause lately I've been feeling like I'm caged in. Nice combo with the homie, where to say in. Through the shots, man, he finally found a way in. Acting like I was patiently waiting. Yeah, what the fuck you gonna say? Get the fuck out my face, what the fuck I'm gonna trade? Yeah, I don't want no sympathy, but you won't take my soul with dignity. You'll have to get rid of too many years. Yeah. Took me way too many deaths. Took me way too many tears for you to say what's up next. Yeah. Took me way too many years. Yeah. Took me way too many deaths. Took me way too many tears for you to say what's up next. You can catch me at the roundabout, a tendency to run your mouth, the type to say they snitching cause they proud to bring a gun around the fake bird, starting now to question what I'm talking about. I hear a single word, then they proud to bring the coffin out. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm talking about. Yeah, that's the type of shit I'm talking about.
So Sheridan, when he said it takes him way too many dabs, did you feel that?
Yeah, I mean that it didn't blow me away, but I thought that he showed potential. I don't know if he's been making music for a long. Do you guys know if he's been making music for a long time?
I looked on his social media and seen some more music. I'm not sure how long he's been making music, but he definitely has a little bit of a discography going for him.
Well, so go ahead.
I was gonna say it sounds like he's been making music for a while. Whether I don't know how long a while is, but it's definitely not a rookie. The tone, I mean, the tone he had in the hook, the way that he adjusted his voice at the end, like to sound a little angry. You feel me? Like he was flowing on it. He didn't blow me away with any of the lyrics. But the hook was dope.
Yeah, his delivery was really good, I thought.
Exactly.
I agree.
Like I think it reminded me a little bit of Jay Perry or Jay Parry. But it was a little bit cleaner, a little bit more fast paced than Jay Parry. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I didn't dislike it at all. I actually liked it. I wouldn't bump that by myself, but I know a lot of people that would.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. I just wasn't impressive to me. But I'm excited to hear like I definitely thought that I heard talent there. So I want to hear more from him. So I'm definitely gonna be checking out some of his older tracks, and whatever he drops new is gonna be on my radar.
Yeah, absolutely. Mystic 07 says smooth, nice flow. So you got her stamp of approval.
Yeah, I thought he had good flow. I thought his delivery was good. I guess the lyrics were the only thing that and like the hook itself was like just wasn't like doing much for me.
I mean, it was a little bit repetitive, but I when he got into his bag, the hook was probably my favorite part of the song. You feel me?
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he switched it up and wasn't just saying talk about it. When he's picked up and started saying line for line, I was looking forward to him saying that again in the song. So he has that going for him. It was a little bit catchy. It reminded me. I'm not sure what race he is, so I'm sorry if you're black, but it reminded me of a lot of like industry white cats, the way that they flow and glide on a beat. You know what I mean?
And almost that aggressive tone too.
Exactly.
It was something that I liked, but as you mentioned, that's definitely an attribute that seems to go with the white rappers in the industry, is that aggressive tone, that flow and that type of stuff. So maybe seeing him change it up could do something for him. But it was a snippet of that aggressiveness that made me wanna play the track and listen to the track on here. So he definitely didn't do a bad job. But you could see the room for growth as well.
Of course, I mean, there's nothing wrong with sounding like a stereotypical fast white rapper if you do it well. It's something that you can build off of. You just want to make sure that that's not your only card out the deck. You can't let that be your end all be all. You have to branch off and do more.
Ant loves stereotypical white rappers, bro. Those are his favorite.
I'm not gonna front. I loved NF's album, The Search. I really like Jack Harlow. I'm a known Eminem fan. I could list white rappers all day. It's just a lot of them fall into a conventional trap. So it's not, and a lot of them are targeted unfairly. So they come in with a target on their back. You do have to either address the target on your back or you fall into that lane. If you don't address the target in the back and do something to get rid of it, then you're going to fall into the same pocket. That's my only stance.
I agree with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The next track we've got is definitely one that I think we will all agree will have some room for growth, but I do want to hear what your guys' critique is. It's from my guy Nick Lambo. I went to school with him. He's a good dude. And he's been making music for a while, a little inconsistently, but just dropped this the other day. So I want to see what you guys think about it.
Let's get it.
It's Saturday night with my niggas, and these girls all on us go figure, cause they got drugs on their mind. When the sun come up, we still awake. Cocaine, hot liquor, and heartbreak. Told God my soul you can't take. If you wanted my nigga, then why wait? It's Saturday night with my niggas, and these girls all on us go figure, cause they got drugs on their mind. When the sun come up, we still awake. Cocaine, hot liquor, and heartbreak. Told God my soul you can't take. If you wanted my nigga, then why wait? They say I'm the life of the party, and you wanted to fuck soon as you saw me, but I can't tonight, girl, I'm sorry, don't worry. Strip club with a pocket full of ones. Spent so much, made you feel like you the one. Understand this is all just for fun, so go on and take the money and run. Flip on me like how, when I'm accepting things I don't allow, cause playing aside ain't my style. Get head in the club, get wild. She gon' back that thing up, fucking the range truck. She so dangerous, that's what her name was, cause that's what I named her. Fuck her and dip though, so she can't play us. Cocaine dreaming, what's my reason? You are leaving, say goodbye, though. Well, I get high, though, and why we work out, cause we're both psycho, and that's that kid love, not talking Michael. You love surprises, well, keep your eyes closed. After sex with you, I can't lay next to you. Let's talk in person, cause I can't be texting you. It's Saturday night with my niggas, and these girls all on us go figure, cause they got drugs on their mind. When the sun come up, we still awake. Cocaine, hot liquor, and heartbreak. Told God my soul you can't take. If you wanted my nigga, then why wait? It's Saturday night with my niggas, and these girls all on us go figure, cause they got drugs on their mind. When the sun come up, we still awake. Cocaine, hot liquor, and heartbreak. Told God my soul you can't take. If you wanted my nigga, then why wait? Swear I'm running out of time, and I got drugs on my mind. Go ahead, snort another line. Promise, baby girl, you'll be fine. Swear I'm running out of time, and I got drugs on my mind. Go ahead, snort another line. Promise, baby girl, you'll be fine. Cocaine dreaming, what's my reason? You are leaving, say goodbye, though. Well, I get high, though, and why we work out, cause we're both psycho, and that's that kid love, not talking Michael. You love surprises, well, keep...
That's Saturday Night by Nick Lambo. Probably the longest track we've played, and that was kind of one of my only critiques for this track, was that it was a little bit longer, especially in today's day and age of music. Trying to keep people's attention for 4 minutes can be difficult, but it was definitely a dope track.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was long. I thought it was really catchy, which was really good. I thought he had an interesting voice that was definitely like, I don't know if he's been making music for a long time. I can't tell, but like it sounds like he's been singing for a time because he's good at it. I guess my even above the length of the song, my biggest critique would be I thought that he could have used a lot more clever wordplay and like for a song that's so catchy, in terms of melody, I think he's doing a little bit of a disservice to it to not take a little more time to like write those lines. I can tell that he didn't I can tell that he just didn't spend a whole lot of time saying, okay, this line I could make it flow a little bit better if I change this word, and if I like the next line I had it be some type of punchline. I thought that he kind of just did what rhymed and probably just wrote it down and just was like, this is what works. I think if he spent a little more time on like perfecting that could be like a hit level song, because I think it was catchy. I thought the beat was good. I thought the mix could have been better, but wasn't bad at all. So I'm excited to hear if he continues to polish that writing process, because if he does, he could be a heavy hitter.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know dude on Facebook, so shout out Nick. We've talked many times, and I've even seen him talk about getting back into music. So I'm assuming he's done it for a long time and took a break. I'm surprised that that's him from what I've seen about him. Even this cover art, when I hear that song, I'm surprised. I'm not expecting what I just heard. That's not my type of vibe at all. But I also don't dislike that shit. Like I think that was a fire song. And like you said, it was a hit level type ordeal if you tighten up a couple things. I think between his voice, the way he rode the beat, and the topic, the subjects that he touched on, I don't have any complaints to the song really. You can always make it better, but for what he was trying to do, I'm sure he could tighten up his wordplay. I'm sure he could write some more meaningful lines, and it probably would have benefited him in the long run to do that. But I'm shocked right now because I thought that was a pretty good song.
Yeah. And
for me, it's not even about more meaningful lines. It's for me, I just thought he could have done like a little more clever wordplay that's like almost gone the corny route where like I'm gonna say some like little clever punchline or like metaphor that's funny, but it works for this catchy song.
I would typically agree with you, but this was so bred for the radio if it was edited that like I don't even really care about the lines, because like you said, the melody, it was gold. It's what made the song. So
the
melody was crisp.
So
I think the juxtaposition between his voice, the beat, and the melody, I could listen to that shit. It doesn't really matter what he's saying. So I'm
just talking the difference between making it top 40 and just like I think a top, like to make that top 40, if he made those lines more catchy, that would happen.
I agree, but like also when you're fucking with like one syllable rhymes, it's you're not gonna get the most creative shit. You feel me? So it's just like it's not the most complex thing in the world by any means. It's actually more on the simple side, but I think it was very, very effective. I'm gonna share that to social medias when this is done, because I'm interested to see what people think of that.
Yeah, that was dope.
Yeah, I thought it was a dope song.
And he's got some more coming on the way. He mentioned that he's working on an EP or a project that he's going to be dropping in the next couple months. So I hope to see that come to fruition, because I really enjoyed this, and I've enjoyed what he's been doing. It just hasn't been as consistent as I'd like to see it, which it happens with some people. You only have so much time, but he's good enough that he should put that time into it. Make the time, no matter how you have to do it. Make the time. Invest the money, do what needs to be done, because he is talented enough that if he was doing that stuff, and I'm not saying he's not investing the money, but going to a good studio, promoting the project, all of these things, he very well could be moving up into that upper echelon of artists we talked about in Upstate, just because of the talent there.
One thing that I am going to say, I do got a little bit of a criticism, and if it's not criticism, it's advice. As somebody that's black but could easily be mistaken for white by the wrong person, I think you have to do more to represent yourself for the listener, because if they look at that cover art and then they hear you throwing nigga around, it doesn't really matter if you're black. And I'm not I'm not talking about for myself, I'm just talking about the world. So that's something that I've had to deal with, and a lot of people have to deal with. But I'm assuming because you said it so loosely that you are black or minority of some kind. I would be shocked to find out that you're not. So I would just do a little bit better at branding your image if I was.
Nah, yeah.
When I first looked at the song I was like, wait, is this dude white? Like I was actually gonna say something about that before Andrew said that was his homie, because obviously, like I just knew when Andrew said it was his homie. Obviously, he's not just some white dude throwing around the N-word.
Yeah. So
like, I'm not totally sure, but I think he's mixed. So. Oh, yeah, but he makes good music, and I definitely understand what you're saying too. It's something that's difficult for mainstream artists to deal with. Logic, for example, deals with this in a way, But if you're moving up the ranks as an artist, if you're a hometown artist, so to speak, it's going to be even harder, because if people look at you and they don't know what race you are, you will get people who and when you're making that sound of music too, which might not always be catered towards the African American community, you might get that situation as well.
I mean, but I'm saying if there's a large portion of the African American community that would listen to that, but if you look at the cover art and then you listen to it, that's where it gets a little bit tricky. You feel me? Like it's not about, he can't go black and white.
It's like a Post Malone vibe almost, that he kind of
exactly. Yeah. But if you look at Post Malone and then you listen to the music with no music video and you see the cover art and it's just nigga getting thrown around, like I just think that's something to keep in your head. You feel me? Like I'm not
even
saying
you, bro.
Well, I've gone through this for years.
Remember.
That's the only thing. Yeah. I mean, it's not done happening. No. Like I expect to get bigger and bigger, and that's gonna get bigger and bigger. But like I said, I've established from the jump my position. I've never switched up my persona, and even doing that, I still get the criticism. But you just have to make sure that people know. Not even that it doesn't matter necessarily that people know you're black, because you don't want to act black or anything. You just have to identify properly, you know?
Like, it's just it's so sad to me that this is even something that has to be discussed, bro. Like,
I mean, image is everything. I mean, if I see somebody who I think, like Bobby Nice, for example, you look at him and it just looks like a scrawny little white kid saying nigga every 5 seconds. But he's Spanish. Like, I'm actually black. I'm white as fuck, but I'm not mad. It's something that I'm gonna have to deal with my whole life. You feel me?
So what do you think about? I know. So I don't know all the history, and I've seen people say that like Dominican people or like other people of Hispanic descent are considered black. What do you think about like Hispanic people saying the N-word?
In a casual manner, so I'm going to quote a famous comedian, and my father told me this. This is how I was raised, bro. I saw this stand up when I was probably 9. I can't remember. And I'm sorry if this is offensive, but this is how I was raised. This is a principle I grew up on. Said Puerto Ricans, Mexicans, Cubans, Spanish people, there are brothers. There are sisters. There ain't none but niggas that can swim. You feel me? Like, so it gets tricky when it gets tricky when there's racial tension amongst the Latino and the African American community. You feel me? When people are using Spanish slurs as much as saying nigga at the same time, you feel me? There's a thin line. But in a casual manner, if you handle it respectfully, I have no problem. Like, am I going to tell Fat Joe and Big Pun when they hop on the track that they can't say nigga? Like, fuck no. You feel me? But you have to respect the culture. You have to understand your place and be aware of the situation. Like, I think there's a lot of people that could handle it better. But it's something that everybody's going to deal with if you're in a position like that.
Okay. That's interesting. So what if, like, I guess my one other question would be then, like, so, like, what if, like, an Asian person or, like, a Middle Eastern person, is that different?
Asian people, and I don't want to keep getting too deep into this, but Asian and African American people have had, like, historic racial tension. Nothing, like, that I really want to touch on, but there have been both sides of the coin. Historically, black people have been pretty rude to Asian people in terms of satire and making fun of them. And Asian people have, in some cases, been very stereotypical and racist towards black people. It's not all of them. And it's very black and white to look at it that way. But there's a completely different history behind it.
Yeah.
You feel me?
I agree with you.
Like a lot of the history that goes behind black and Spanish isn't too far from each other if you really dive deep into it. You feel me? So I just think it's a completely different situation.
For sure. It's a good conversation, but let's try and get back to the music a little bit. That way we're not wrapped up in the racial conversation for too long. The last
You always
track
find some way to get political.
Yeah, for sure. The last track I have to preview
Especially
is
me.
It's by 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞. I talked about it last week, talked about it at the top of the show, and I'm ready to preview it. It's featuring an artist named Dreams, so I'm excited to preview this one. Here you go.
If you ain't like me, then you really not gon' like. Yeah, you bad, but you really don't excite. Bitch, you mad cause that nigga nothing like me. He nothing like me, now pack your shit politely. Never been a dummy, I see through you, you don't love me. I used to get them butterflies inside me when you hug me. Now I screw my face up every time you try to touch me. There used to be a time when I felt special or so lucky. Shit up on my mind and you the reason for a lot of it. Gave you something real and in return you gave me counterfeit. 10 toes down, I stay sadder when they doubted it. Yeah, when they doubted it, and I ain't even proud of it. Never turned my back, I kept it 100, I was true to you. Text me that you love me when I know you really doing you. I guess this fast life, popping bottles, shit ain't new to you. Never knew the devil wore stilettos, and it's beautiful. And it's beautiful. And then it's beautiful. Keep it real, girl, what I really do to you. It wasn't game, then I was running, I was schooling you. I know you moves before you make them, so you fooling. Nah, 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 nah. Nah, 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 so you fooling. Nah, 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 nah. I know you moves before you make them, so you fooling. If you ain't like me, then you really not gon' like me. Yeah, you bad, but you really don't excite me. Bitch, you mad cause that nigga nothing like me. He nothing like me, nah, he ain't nothing like me. He ain't nothing like me. No, he ain't nothing like me. No, he ain't nothing like me. Yeah, you bad, but you really don't excite me.
I thought that you was feeling me, had me stress questioning my energy. Knew something was wrong, I could feel it in your energy. How I feel alone in my home when you live with me. Said I got your heart, but those words wasn't meant for me. Showed it off as lovers, now I see you was an enemy. Thought what we had was magic, you was playing tricks with me. And you had the nerve to say you will always stick with me. You gotta be kidding me. Always kept it real, I told you to keep it sucker free. How you look with him, I hit your phone, you was ducking me. Ain't no coming back from that, shorty, you were dub to me. Known from the jump, I ain't never do the cuffing thing. How you look with him, I hit your phone, you was ducking me. Ain't no coming back from that, shorty, you were dub to me. Known from the jump, I ain't never do the cuffing thing. I ain't never do the cuffing thing.
If you ain't like me, then you really not gon' like me. Yeah, you bad, but you really don't excite me. Bitch, you mad cause that nigga nothing like me. He nothing like me, nah, he ain't nothing like me. He ain't nothing like me. No, he ain't nothing like me. No, he ain't nothing like me. Yeah, you bad, but you really don't excite me.
And that's the new 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞 featuring Dreams Like Me. What'd you guys think of that? I've been listening to 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞 for a little while now, and I've just seen him get better, so.
I've been listening to 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞 for a while. He's somebody I had a lot of love for a while. We have a very large mutual respect for each other. He knows how I feel about him. I love seeing him win, seeing him succeed. It's hit after hit with that guy. I've never really heard a bad verse from him. This verse specifically, I'm not sure if I'm familiar with Dreams, to be honest. So I can't really speak for him. But I knew that it wasn't 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞 rapping or singing. So I was like, when's he gonna come through? Dreams did his thing, but I think that 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞 brought that much needed balance to the track. I think that with his voice, how deep it is, and the impactful lines that he was bringing. How I feel alone in my home when you sitting with me or some shit. Like he was talking his shit. So I think that it really came together and blended for a dope track. I think that some of the chorus was a little bit too long. I was getting like dragged out by the end of it. But when I was listening to 𝐂𝐲𝐡𝐞's verse the whole time, I was in tuned. and I was looking forward to what he had to say.
So, okay, so Carlito he wasn't the one doing the hook?
He was the rapper. Well, like, I guess they're both rappers. He was the one with the deeper voice.
Okay. So personally, I think it was more so the mix. I didn't love how his voice was mixed. I actually liked the dream part better, but I thought that the mix was like accommodated his voice better. I thought that the mix on Carlito's voice wasn't very accommodating to his tone. But I thought that he, in terms of like, yeah, when you do something with a chill.
When you auto-tune like bars, like it's gonna sound a little bit like that. You
feel well, when you auto-tune bars, and I don't mean to like disrespect whoever makes the track, but like when you auto-tune bars and you don't actually draw the auto-tune in and you just throw it on there, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
And I think that in terms of what he was spitting, it was super fire, but I didn't totally love how his verse sounded. And in terms of the dream part, I thought and I agree with the part that it dragged on, but I actually really liked it. I thought with him, he could have cleaned up just his vocal a little bit, but I thought it was really catchy. I thought that his verse did its thing. And I thought in general the song had hit potential if a couple things were cleaned up. And I think that both of the artists, in terms of their lyrical ability, definitely showed that they're able to tell their story and also throw some bars in there at the same time. So I think with a cleaner mix, and possibly just a little bit cleaning up on the melody end of things, maybe have like more of like a pre-chorus to lead into that hook just to make things a little more exciting, because I think the hook was great. It just got dragged on after hearing it a bunch of times. I think in general, these guys are both potential hit makers. I haven't heard anything from either of them before this, though.
You should check out Carlito.
Yeah, for sure. Carlito's nice, and they're both nice, actually, and I kind of agree with both of you in a way. I think both guys kind of have their own sound that might be a little bit of a niche sound for them, so that working together helped each of them in a way. I think Carlito might have more of a sound that would appeal a little more to the mainstream because he has a little bit more of a aggressive, rougher rap side, which is starting to really make its way into the mainstream. But still, both of them played well off of each other, and it worked out in a way. Like Anthony, I was kind of waiting for Carlito to come in, but I did enjoy Dream's part. But I do think that Dream singing or sing rapping type thing is definitely appealing to a certain type of fan base. And so when you bring in an artist like Carlito, it's perfect because it gets new eyes on you. And so they work together really well. I like Carlito's been working like crazy over the last year or so. And even longer than that, probably like the last 3 or 4 years in general. And he's someone I've definitely seen grow from being early on. I wasn't super into his music. It took me a while, but now as he's really cleaned it up, gotten into the studio, gotten into getting things done the professional way, he's great, and you could see the growth there, and it's just gonna keep getting better.
No, absolutely. He's one of the artists that, like you said, you've watched the growth. He's worked his ass off. He's dropped project after project, song after song. He's far from a rookie. I look at him more like an OG in the upstate scene. I'm not quite sure exactly how old he is, but I know that the stature that he has, the way that people look at him, he's definitely OG status. It's overdue. I gotta meet up with that guy, shake his hand one day. But we'll make a track. We'll get that on and popping. Talked about it too many times, but it's never gone down. So we'll be in contact if you're watching, Carlito.
Yeah, and his content is very real and true to what he is too. Like you were talking about the lyrics he was saying that had impact and stuff, because you could tell that it's real, or you could feel it in his voice and what he's trying to get across. And it's like that across the board. He's also really good at like being somewhat of a storytelling rapper as well. So he's very versatile, and very much in that OG perspective, as you said.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I agree in the sense of when you throw auto-tune on rap vocals, you have to be very, very careful. It's always going to be touchy. But the way that his voice held his own over the beat and the lyrical content itself was enough to make me not even really care throughout the whole time.
I thought the lyrical content was really top tier. I thought lyrically,
it reminded me of
both
like
of them did their thing.
It reminded me of like some like 𝐂𝐲𝐸𝐷 or some shit when they're on their like hood motivation shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
That's what that kind of reminded me of on a lower level.
Yeah, for sure. And Carlito, like I said, he's working. I think he's got a project in the pipeline that he's been working on, so I'm excited to see what he's got coming. Like I said, constantly working, constantly doing stuff. Big shout out to Upstate this week because like I said, we didn't even cover all of the tracks. We talked about quite a few. Anna just dropped a new track today, Mrs. 7. So there's been so much consistency, and it looks like it's just going to keep getting more and more consistent, and the future's looking more and more bright for Upstate. So next week we'll probably have a bunch more music to talk about. We do have one last topic I skipped over because Ant was so upset about the MGK situation that we have to talk about it. The new Drake album just dropped, or mixtape we should say. What were your guys' thoughts? Dark Hour demo tapes. These are a lot of leaked tracks, a lot of tracks people have heard before, but curious to see what you think.
First, I want to apologize for my outburst earlier. I'm still not discussing that. It's not up for discussion. But I didn't mean to derail us, feel me? But I'm glad that we're talking about it. I was wondering what happened. This is what people probably want to hear. I know it's been the talk of the day. Drake's project. I listened to this 2-3 times. As soon as I was able to last night when it was available, I listened to this shit before I listened to Simple and Plain. I swear to God. Like, I didn't promote, I didn't do nothing. I waited till the morning and I listened to Drake's project. That makes me sound like a big Drake fan. I love Drake when he's on his shit. I'm a big critic though. This project was satisfying. I fucked with it. I was not. Normally, I hear Drake lines because he'll do a banger because he's guaranteed to make a banger. You know if he's doing it, it's going to be a good song. But I critique Drake on like little lines like I'm light skinned but I'm a dark nigga. Feel me? Like that damn near ruined the whole album for me. like so there was no.
That's awful.
Like that. You feel me? Like the songs that were meant to be bangers all hit. The verses that were meant to be bar-filled and intuitive all filled the purpose. I'm not giving it a 10 out of 10. I'm not even giving it a 9 out of 10. But I'm this is like a B+ for me. A B. Like I'm not. It's not a Nothing Was the Same. It's not a Take Care. But it might be my favorite Drake project. Besides for those two, to be honest. I like it.
High praise.
I like
Best.
I like it more than Views. I like it more than I like it more than Views. I didn't like. I mean, it was short and sweet. I'm not even trying to say it's better. But I liked it more for sure.
Nah, Ant is the Joe Budden of the podcast, so he's got to hate Views.
Yeah,
personally, Views is my second favorite besides Take Care. I don't like Nothing Was the Same personally.
Wow. Well, I gotta refresh on the Views track list, but I remember when all that went down. You feel me? Like, and I haven't listened to it at all this year, but if I'm recalling correctly, that's how I feel.
Well, no, that makes sense. Like most people didn't. I wouldn't say most people. I'd say like in terms of like overall popularity, Nothing Was the Same is definitely regarded as a better album than Views is. I just personally thought Views was better.
I'm not a big Drake and Future fan. Like I also don't like when they collab too often. I feel like I think a lot of people would put their collab tape in the running for best Drake projects after like 3.
If you don't count Drake, Future outdid Drake on that whole project.
No, Future. I mean, I'm not a big Future fan in general. So like Drake's lack of really going ham kept me from even enjoying it at all. I really disliked that whole era. Like that's when I was a big Drake critic. And a little bit beforehand.
I'm a huge Future fan, so that's why it's like for me, I'm like, okay, that album was good, but why? I'm like, I wish it was just Future.
Did Views have 4 p.m. in Calabasas?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
So this one I liked a lot. I'll go on the record easily and say that I'm the Cypher's resident Drake stan. But I will also critique Drake when it's a project I don't like. More Life I really didn't like. So it's a project I haven't really listened to it in its full length at all, honestly. But I've listened to every project or every song individually, probably. But just not a project I'm a fan of. This one I liked. I've heard a lot of Drake leaks over the last month or so. I actually didn't hear a lot of these ones, or if I heard them once or twice. So a lot of it was really fresh to me. There were a couple of them that after hearing them 2 or 3 times today, I realized, oh shit, I heard that like a month ago. But it all still felt very fresh and new to me. Overall, it was good, not great. I would say like a 7 out of 10 if we were trying to rank it. But what I liked the most about it was that it came out of nowhere. I'm a big fan of, and obviously people don't like it for the obvious reasons, but I was a big fan of If You're Reading This, It's Too Late. The way it dropped, I liked the music on it too, but the way it just dropped out of nowhere was really awesome, especially for someone of Drake's caliber. So for him to essentially copy that format this time and drop the project on a week when nothing was really dropping, so he didn't really step on any artists that could have been affected by this. It was pretty cool. So overall, I like the project, but it wasn't perfect, and there were a couple of tracks that I probably won't be going back to.
Yeah, I thought there were a couple throwaway tracks, but like there were songs. I will be honest, I am one of the biggest Chris Brown haters and denouncers. I liked the Chris Brown track, and I mean I wasn't blown away by Chris Brown, but I liked his when he was doing like Drake's ad-libs and his background vocals. I thought that sounded really good. And I thought the song with Fabio Foreign and Sosa was probably the best Drake song I've heard in the last 2 or 3 years, in my opinion. I thought that song was...
It wasn't even the best on the project.
I disagree. I thought that was the best song I've heard from Drake in a long time.
I'm not trying to shit on that track. It was dope, but that was...
No, I know. I knew you would disagree.
I just don't even think that's like top 3 Drake tracks on the project, to be honest.
Okay, then you're bugging.
I liked that track a lot, and it's funny because me and Ant almost have to walk back our Fabio Foreign comments from a week or 2 ago when we said we were never going to listen to a Fabio Foreign song. Now everyone...
Whoa, I never
we said we never had listened to one before.
Yeah, I was like, never will is kind of harsh. There's very few rappers I never will. I think I said, who the fuck is Fabio Foreign?
We found out this week, and so did a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said it. I sent them in the messenger. I was like, y'all said y'all don't fuck with Fabio. Y'all ain't heard him. Well, now everybody's gonna.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. I've known of Fabio for a while. I've just never took it upon myself to look him up and listen to his music. I just got into Chef G and Sleepy Hollow, a lot of that type of vibe. So I'm not saying that he's just like them. But there's a lot of artists that I've yet to tap into in that like subgenre of rap.
What did y'all think of the Future and Young Thug track? I didn't like it. I love Young Thug and Future.
Bro, like I said, I'm not a big Drake and Future fan. So like when they link up, I'm not very excited. So it has to be something impressive for me to really enjoy it. Young Thug didn't do anything to the track to like stand out for me. I can't even really remember the chorus. I remember the feeling I had when I played it. I think I
was saying the same dumb shit. You're just saying the same dumb shit over and over again.
There was a couple songs on the project that I listened to and had to rewind and listen to the whole song again. You feel me? This was simply not one of them. I was kind of happy when it got over.
That's funny because
the song with Just Future I thought was great. The song with Just Future I thought was awesome.
Drake went ham on that.
The funny thing
they both did, in my opinion.
You say you didn't have to run this one back. The funny thing about that is I ran this one back because when I first started it, the Young Thug and Future parts, I was like, this isn't that great. This is gonna be one of those songs where Drake comes in and like makes a hit by accompanying these guys, and then by the end of it, like I was like, okay. I had to play it again to see if I missed it. Like because Drake didn't do that. He didn't come in and save the song like he does sometimes with these guys. Exactly. It was just another track, and I was like, oh damn, it's just a skippable one. It's one of the ones that I won't be listening to in the future. But like Sheridan said, that other Future track, I had heard that one before. I had heard it when it leaked, but it's a dope track that I'm glad it's on streaming services.
I would
think that's awesome.
I would say that my biggest criticism is one of also my biggest like ups of the project is I liked a lot of the features, and then a lot of the features I was just like, what the fuck? Like I don't want to hear this. But I also
Playboy Cardi's.
well, no, I mean I'm down for a Playboy Cardi feature. I just want to hear some fire.
Well, me too. That's what I'm saying. Is like I love Playboy Cardi, but that feature is trash. Not trash, but just was his mid. It was mid's Playboy Cardi. I don't think Playboy Cardi's ever trash per se, but that was mid's.
I'm not Drake's targeted fan base per se. You feel me? So not a lot of these tracks were aimed for me or meant for me to like them. So when I was grading this project, I'm just talking about there's a couple tracks that I could have done without. I think it was longer than I expected it to be. But I think that the songs that were strong were hella strong. And it'll be the first Drake that I actually like repeat listen to for a while in years. Like there's been some singles, there's been some features, there's been like when he dropped Scary Hours and those 2 tracks, I bumped those. I like that Drake.
Too.
But there's not really too much else that I've listened to in the past couple years that I've been impressed by him. He's been coasting through hip hop just on some God level shit, you feel me? So I was actually impressed by this project.
I thought When to Say When, I thought Landed, and I thought Demons were the highlights. I thought Landed was a really good track.
Fire. I also like the last 2 tracks of the project where I hated Drake when he started doing his little accent shit at first, but I really like from an objective standpoint of just the music. Like I really like those couple tracks on the project.
You think he was
like I thought? What say that, Andrew?
You think he was going at Kanye on that last track on War, or Pusha T, one of them?
I'm not gonna say which one it is.
I thought he was going at Pusha T on When to Say When.
I saw I was looking at the lyrics earlier today, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but somebody pointed something out to me that pretty much debunked the theory that it was Kanye. I wish that I could quote it right now, but I remember me being like, nah, like it's not Kanye. It could be Pusha, it could be somebody at Good Music. Drake is the king of subliminals, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I wasn't. Drake has done a lot of things where I've jumped to conclusion. This wasn't one of them for some reason.
Yeah, just when he said man went PC talking in War, I was like, maybe thinking he's leaning into Kanye going into his whole church bag. But I'd believe it, too, if there's a couple lines in there that debunk the whole thing. Because it sounded like it could be Kanye, could be Pusha, could be someone totally different. Drake, like you said, Drake's the king of subliminals, so for sure.
Absolutely.
I thought When to Say When, he was definitely going at Pusha T. He was basically talking about, like, how Pusha didn't. I thought he was basically saying Pusha didn't know that like when to stop, and I knew when to stop. I felt like that's kind of what that song was about, and he was talking about like we can go back and forth, but who's the richer man? Like who's really like fucking winning? And he was saying I'm the one who's winning. That's what I took.
The name itself could be indicative of some sort of like subliminal shit, but I wasn't listening to the subject matter or the song itself thinking like, oh, he's going at somebody's neck. When you point out the When to Say When, that's a really good point. That's exactly what he's saying, whether it's at somebody specifically or not.
Yeah, and I just thought like he just said like how you get hype off of one hit, do that shit again. Like I feel like he was basically saying, like, yeah, Pusha, you had your time when you went at me with that freestyle, but, like, now, what's up? Daytona was a hit, but you're not going to drop another album like that. I bet that's what I took from it, and I could be totally wrong, but that's kind of what I thought he was saying.
Yeah,
I totally hear you.
That's where I'm at with the Kanye thing, just Drake referencing Kendall and stuff like that in the War song. Like, I could be totally wrong, but just the way some of the stuff he was saying, it makes you feel like he was leaning into it. And if he was, it's kind of like, I get it, but it's also kind of corny to do it now when Kanye did kind of change up his whole vibe. You already said you were going to dead the whole situation, but now you're kind of leaning back into it. If he is, it's whatever. It's Drake. He's going to get away with it. But it is a little bit corny to be leaning back into a situation with a dude who is doing the church thing. So at best, you're going to pull him out of something and fuck up his bag. But I was also thinking about it, like, how much can Drake really do to Kanye? Like, Kanye is a billionaire now. You can't
do anything.
There's nothing. Even as big as Drake is, outside of literally taking the man's life or his wife, and you don't want his wife.
I mean, bro, if the only thing that Drake could possibly do to really affect Kanye West is if he really had some sort of information or some shit that's behind the curtains that though he could manipulate Kanye's mind. I think Kanye is mentally unstable, as smart as he is. And I think that he could be his worst enemy. He would have to get into Kanye's head so deep that he malfunctions himself. There's nothing that Drake can do himself.
I feel like Drake just feels betrayed by Kanye, and I definitely like Kanye 100 times more than I like Drake. But I feel what Drake said about the situation, I think he talked about this on the show with LeBron. I forgot what the show's called. He basically said that he met with Kanye to like work on a track or something like that, and Kanye was basically like tell me everything about you, tell me all your secrets, and I'll tell you all my secrets, and like this is how we're gonna make this track. We're gonna really get to know each other. And basically how Pusha T got the information about Drake's son was that he had given Kanye this information. I had this son with this porn star, blah, blah, blah. And he had considered it confidential information that Kanye would never share. And it was that stuff that they were sharing with each other for that song. This is what Drake said, whether it happened or not. This is how he feels, at least. And I think that is very possible with someone like Kanye. As much as I love his music, think he's one of the greatest artists ever, like you said, he's mentally unstable. He doesn't know totally, I think, what his effect and the effects that he's had on people has been. And I think that he needs help, and I hope he gets help because I love Kanye and I want him to be making. And I think I listened to that Church album or whatever, and I listened to one that he did with like his orchestra or whatever, the Church album he did. I only listened to it once because obviously I'm not going to go back and listen to church music a second time, but it was immaculate. I mean, it was amazing. He's one of the most amazing musicians of all time. If Kanye were to get help and I don't want to say get on meds, but get some type of help, he would be a lot better off, I think. And he would be able to apologize and kind of make amends for the things that he's done in recent years. And I think he owes a lot of people that, as someone, again, who loves Kanye, I think he owes a lot of people an apology for the things that he said and the effects that he's had on others, especially if what Drake says is true and he gave away a lot of Drake's secrets. I think that's a very low thing for me. There are a lot of things that I think could maybe be considered like worse or illegal or awful. That's really low to really ask someone to pour their heart out to you and then give away their deepest secrets in some type of entertainment battle. I think that's low. But
and the thing about Kanye being unstable is even if these lines aren't about Kanye, it wouldn't surprise me to see Kanye retaliate in some type of way based upon just the Kendall line. To see Kanye try and do something, if it's not a song, a Twitter tirade, or even an Adidas rollout, like something, to try and go at Drake because of these songs. Just because, like you guys have said, he definitely is unstable.
He said something about Kelly too.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's definitely interesting, the stuff Drake had to say. The last topic I want to talk about with this project, and I asked Sheridan about this last night, that song with 504 and the Demons track. Do you think that Pop Smoke was intended for this track, or do you think that he inspired this track? The passing of him inspired it? Because that was the one thing that stuck with me through listening to it. Was like, it was a great track. I really enjoyed it, but I wanted Pop on it, as if that sounds weird. Like, I wanted Pop on that track.
So my thoughts on that is that I can't really answer it.
Yeah.
I will give my opinion on it. I don't really know if he intended, but I do know that Pop Smoke influenced the sound of the direction of the song in some way, shape, or form. He could have wanted 𝐂𝐲𝐲 on it genuinely from the jump, but he was hopping on the wave, of course, that he does so frequently, of the trendy thing that's going on in hip hop. So if Pop Smoke was on it, I would have personally liked it more. I think it would have been a better song. I like him more than 𝐂𝐲𝐲 Foreign from what I've heard. But I can't really talk as opposed to intentions.
I think that, and I talked to Andrew about this last night, and I didn't actually say this when we talked about it. I think that if Pop Smoke was not dead, I think he would have been on that song. I think 𝐂𝐲𝐲 Foreign also would have been on that song. I think Sosa would have been the one who was left out. I think what Drake realized was that while Pop Smoke is dead, that's still a rising sound in the game. And so he was like, okay, this sounds really like, I think it sounds worse than I mean it. I think Drake was like, okay, I can't have Pop Smoke, I'll have 𝐂𝐲𝐲. And I think that 𝐂𝐲𝐲 was being Pop Smoke's boy, being his homie. They came up in the same kind of area, and they were collaborators. I think it would have made sense because Drake did have 2 features. I don't think there was any like huge reason to have the Sosa feature on there. I don't think the Sosa feature really was blowing anyone away. I think he wanted 2 features on it, and I think the 2 features would have been Pop Smoke and 𝐂𝐲𝐲 Foreign if Pop was still around.
And I think with Drake, he didn't necessarily want to do the thing that like Kanye and Lil Wayne have done, where they've gotten verses from someone like XXX and put it on a track and made a posthumous song without ever meeting the person. But instead, his way to honor Pop Smoke would be to get his man on a track and take care of him in a way. And it's pretty dope. And that's kind of, I guess, what I mean by saying, do you think that his passing influenced it? Like, do you think Drake was 100%. Like, I'm not going to go out and do the corny thing of buying a dead man's verse. Instead, I'm going to put his man on and help his man because that's the best that I could do for this guy and for the sound that he was creating.
The only thing is we're talking about the same guy that just bought Michael Jackson vocals.
I knew you were going to say that. But I think the difference is that Pop Smoke just died and he got shit for that. Like, I feel like Drake would get more shit than someone like Lil Wayne would get for buying an X verse.
No, but 1,000%. I'm just saying it's not like he's not the person to do that.
I think that might even have influenced him to not do it in a way, is the amount of backlash he got from that. Would it be worth it to get that backlash again over someone like you can't really compare Pop Smoke to Michael Jackson, so would it be worth it to get that backlash over Pop Smoke?
You can't compare Pop Smoke to Michael Jackson, but it's such a unique situation that there's only so many things that you can compare it to.
But I think the difference is that Pop Smoke is more modern and he's a more recent death. And I think what it is Drake. No, I don't think it's about Drake being like, oh, like I want to respect Pop Smoke.
Bro,
like that's not what I'm saying. I think it's more about Drake wanting to make sure that his image looks good, and he knows that if he uses a Pop Smoke verse, he knows how many people would be like, oh, this is just preying on Pop Smoke's death.
Especially because Drake's not really from that lifestyle, you know, like, so that adds a whole nother layer to it. Like you're taking from that sound. Instead, he's in a way keeping the sound alive. I mean, that's not to say the sound wouldn't have stayed alive, but Drake utilizing this sound with someone that worked with Pop, he's very much keeping Pop,
because he's rapping like them, and he's saying, okay, like I'm bringing 𝐂𝐲𝐲 on here, and I have his like basically permission to use this sound because he's on this track with me. If he did it with just Pop Smoke, I wouldn't be surprised if he wanted Pop Smoke on that and 𝐂𝐲𝐲 said no, just me and Sosa.
Who's to say Drake doesn't have a song with Pop Smoke?
True.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that one were to pop up on the Pop Smoke album. Like Drake might, and then maybe Drake's waiting for that one to come out and then come out with his own, but you never know.
But with this �ボ feature, now that he has this �ボ feature, it won't look as bad to do a song with Pop Smoke. Is basically what I'm saying. Now that he did this with �ボ, he does a song with Pop Smoke. It's like, oh, he did this song with Pop Smoke. It's disrespectful. No, because people can say, hey, he did this song with �ボ, who was Pop Smoke's homie and Pop Smoke's sound. Oh, he got the acceptance or whatever. I think that it was more, and if like it wasn't like Drake saying, "Oh, I want to like respect Pop Smoke." I think it was Drake making a calculated move. Hey, I'm going to do this song with �ボ, get the respect in that community or whatever. And if he does have this Pop Smoke feature, then now he can release it on his like actual studio album and have it not get as much backlash, because it'll get backlash regardless. But now with this �ボ feature, it'll cushion the blow a little bit, I think.
I think Drake could do some drill music whenever the fuck he wanted to, no matter who's on the track. And because you're Drake, you're gonna get faced with immense backlash regardless. But he could hop on to almost virtually any scene. I don't think anybody needs to be a cosign for Drake. You feel me? I think it's possible that it was a �ボ song at first, and Drake bought it from 𝐂𝐵, added his part to it. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Because that's what Drake is known for doing. He's known for taking shit and trying to make it his. You feel me? So I don't think that even 𝐂𝐵, no matter what relationship he has to Pop Smoke or the drill scene, in that New York culture, I don't think Drake needs anybody in particular to really aid his venture. You feel me?
I don't think he needs it, but I think he wants to do it in the right way, because the thing about Drake is I watched an interview with him in the last couple of months where he was talking about Lil Peep and the passing of Lil Peep, and that was very interesting to me, just for Drake to even be checking out someone in that lane who had passed away. And he had very positive things to say, obviously. So to me, while a lot of times we've seen Drake shift into a different lane and it's felt like he's kind of trying to rob the sound or take the sound and utilize it to help himself, I really feel like in a way he was trying to help keep that sound that Pop was helping make very popular in New York, keep it going in this way. And I could be totally wrong. He could just be doing the typical Drake thing, but I do think it was a lot more of a like respect helping someone out type of thing, because like you said, Ant, he can probably drop tracks like this without any features or with other features and without needing a cosign for it, but he specifically chose 𝐂𝐵, who does have that relationship with Pop. So it's interesting to me, and I think that Drake was trying to do the right thing rather than what we generally assume from Drake.
Andrew, will you send me that clip? Will you send me that clip of Drake talking about Lil Peep? Because that is not somebody I would have imagined talking about Lil Peep. I didn't hear about that.
It was very interesting when I seen it too. For sure, I'll send it after this.
That's awesome.
But yeah, overall, Drake's project, he very much like did a good job. It came at a perfect time when there wasn't a whole lot dropping, especially in the mainstream. It is unfortunate that, as I said, there were a whole bunch of upstate tracks dropping this week. They had to compete with a mainstream project like Drake. But in some ways that can help. People are rushing to streaming services. They'll see your track in the I can't think of the name. Yeah, the Discovered Weekly. Yeah, Release Radar, that type of stuff. So it can help in a way, especially when there isn't a whole lot going on. It depends on how you want to look at it. But either way, it was a good week for music in general. Gave us a ton of stuff to talk about this week, but I think we're pretty much done outside of you guys promoting what you got coming up.
So first things first, Simple and Plain dropped today on all streaming platforms. Go run that up. Like I said, make sure to add it to your libraries. Save it to your playlist. It would mean a lot to me. It's a really good song. It's my first international collab. I enjoyed a lot. It kicks off my first series of my spring cleaning. Shout out Andrew for the graphic that he made for me. I think it's really dope. It's way better than I expected. Like shit, bro. I mean, no, not for real. Like this is better than cover art that I've paid a lot of money for. So I'm just happy that it came from you. So Spring Cleaning Volume 1, dropping a track every 2 weeks starting today until a project comes. And if I say so, then I'm gonna keep going after that. You feel me? I got too many tracks. It's time to get them out to you guys. I appreciate all the feedback I've gotten for Simple and Plain so far. So that Red Rum, keep running it up. I got a lot of content for you guys coming. So much love. Anthony Kannon on all social medias. You know what to do. If you watch it right now, you probably already follow me. But in case you catch this on YouTube somewhere, hit your boy up. You know, I got some good content out there.
Dope. Yeah, for me, I don't have the same flood as Anthony that's coming right now. I'm kind of like finishing up a bunch of tracks, gonna be putting them in the system soon. I have a Road Less Traveled video in the final stages of being finished. And when that happens, it'll be in the system and it'll be on all streaming services, including YouTube, and everybody will get to see that. Other than that, I'm working on my solo album. I'm working on a collab album with Dorothea Murray, who I'm currently staying with. I will be coming home within the next 2 weeks. I don't have a flight yet, but if anybody's trying to work, let me know.
You keyboard warriors, get ready. Sheridan's coming home.
Yeah, be ready. I'm coming home, bro. Like, the flights are on. Like, MMA, we're going to meet up at the Cortland Buffet.
Aesthetic, MMA fights are coming.
Yo, speaking of, well, if you tuning in right now, which it seems that 2 people are, tomorrow, May 2nd, live from your fucking timeline. You know what's popping. You know what's popping. Got a lot of talented artists. And the mastermind Andrew for Upstate Aesthetic put this together. It's a beautiful way to keep artists productive during this time. And if you tuned in earlier, you know we got a very talented roster. I'm happy to be a part of it. I recorded my set essentially just like this, turning up on unreleased material. I was planning on using my studio when it got here, but not all the pieces are here. So I just gave you guys an extra treat. I'm gonna try to put it together tonight, send it through. So tune in tomorrow, May 2nd, live from your timeline.
Yes, sir. Tomorrow night, live from
your timeline.
We're gonna have Matthew Cornwell, Corey Alexander, MBK Richie, Dami LaFleur, Anthony Kannon, 𝐂𝐲𝐸, and all the guys with Dim 136. We also got 𝐂𝐲𝐸 performing live from
your timeline.
So it's gonna be dope tomorrow night at 8. First virtual concert we've put together for Upstate. Hopefully many more to come, but with the coronavirus, it was definitely time to do something like this. So hope we get a bunch of people tuned in. I'm sure we will. And I almost forgot. We also will be right as we're introducing the show tomorrow. We're gonna have an exclusive preview of the Dwellers' new music video. That's releasing Saturday. It's releasing during the concert, but we're gonna have the preview right before, just to get the Dwellers involved with the concert as well. So we're working with as many people as we can. If you're watching this right now and you make music and you wanna play some music in between sets, hit me up in the DM. We'll get them playing. Want to get as many people involved in this as we can. So it's gonna be a good time, great time tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Be there. Otherwise, until next time, I think that wraps everything up. We're going to play Ant's new track and close things out.
Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck.
Let's get it.
International, nigga. That's how I'm feeling. Yeah. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. Keys and trust me. That's my signature now, some shit. Yeah. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. He at the door when I send him up. I had to tell him, look what I did for us. I want the keys to a Bentley truck. I need it black and it tinted up. We finna smoke with the windows up. I hit the plug from a different number. I get the pack and then divvy up. I make the portions and I split it up. I know they mad, they ain't get enough. I got the backwood and I lit it up. Treat them like Pac when I hit them up. You should've known the highs and the lows. I'm out of my mind, I'm out of control. So I hit the dash, nigga, I'm going. So I got the gas, let's get in the zone. Nigga, your life is a lie. All of them bitches is scandalous. I get the pack from the Bay. I need a trip to Los Angeles. I'ma pull up on some cannon shit. If you see the lights in the ambulance, chain on my neck like an amulet. I'm by my paper like pamphlets. You try to dance with the wolves and it's dangerous. I took a step in there, I got the hang of it. You saw the switch in it, I saw the change in it. I'ma be chillin' with niggas I came with. Pour up the liquor, I probably was tasting it. I took a shot off the glass like I'm baking it. I put the food on the table like banquets. Niggas be hating, but you should be thanking them. Yeah, came up but I'm still climbing. Me and Shorty off a pill vibing. Niggas ass, they real diamonds. Simple and plain, I don't give a fuck. He at the door and I send him up.